Intro. Guiding into calm, take a moment now to let your body soften, to let your breath slow, and to welcome stillness, as if the world is tucking you under a warm blanket. Imagine the hush of night surrounding you, a room bathed in gentle shadows, perhaps a candle flickering softly nearby, or the faint glow of moonlight resting on the window pane. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your eyelids grow heavy, like leaves swaying on a calm breeze. And now let us drift together into a story whispered long ago, a story of someone so very small, yet whose heart carried the wonder of 1,000 dreams. Our story tonight begins with a woman who longed for something precious, something tiny and delicate, to bring joy to her quiet home. The beginning of Thumbelina. Once, in a village brushed with golden fields, there lived a woman who had everything she needed except one thing. She longed for a child, but none had come. One day she went to visit an old woman who was said to know the secrets of herbs and flowers. The woman smiled gently, her eyes glimmering like hidden stars, and handed her a small barley. "Plant this," she whispered, her voice like the rustle of autumn leaves, "and you shall see what grows." The woman took the seed home, planted it in a flower pot, and soon a great green leaf rose from the soil. From its heart bloomed a tulip, glowing with colors richer than silk. When the petals opened, inside sat a tiny girl no taller than a thumb. She was delicate, with hair fine as spun gold and eyes bright as dewdrops. The woman named her Thumbelina. The tiny world, Thumbelina's world, was a gentle one. Her bed was a walnut shell, cushioned with petals softer than any down. Her blanket was a rose petal, folding her into warmth. By day she danced upon the polished table, singing songs as clear as birdsong, her voice ringing like tiny bells. A saucer of water became her lake, where she floated in a tulip leaf, using straws of grass as her oars. The woman adored her, and Thumbelina, though small, brought light to every corner of the house. The toads visit but one night, when the moon lay pale and silver across the floor. A great toad crept in through the open window. Her skin glistened like wet stone, her eyes bulged round and watchful. She saw Thumbelina asleep in her walnut shell cradle, rose petal blanket curled around her. "Oh," croaked the toad, "what a lovely bride she would make for my son." And before the woman could stir, the toad carried Thumbelina away, walnut cradle and all, into the damp night. They journeyed to the riverbank, where the toad's son, slow and slimy, waited among the reeds. The mother placed Thumbelina on a lily pad, far out in the river, saying, "Here you shall stay, until my son is ready to marry you." The river creatures. Thumbelina woke at dawn, surrounded by the cool ripples of water. She was afraid, so very small, stranded on a lily pad, with no way back to shore. But as the sun rose, the creatures of the river noticed her. Fish darted below, their scales flashing like silver coins. Dragonflies hovered above their wings, a shimmer of glass. They pitied the tiny girl, so delicate and sad. And when the toad swam back to prepare the wedding, the fish nibbled at the stem of the lily pad. Snap, 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 until the pad broke free, floating gently down the stream, carrying Thumbelina away to safety. She drifted past fields, past meadows, past waving reeds that whispered in the wind. Though frightened, she marveled too, for the world was vast and full of wonders even a thumb-sized heart could hold. The lily pad glided softly upon the gentle current, like a cradle rocking in nature's arms. Thumbelina, though small and uncertain, leaned back and listened to the murmur of water curling around her green raft. Above her, the sky opened wide, painted with morning hues of pale pink and golden cream. A breeze brushed past, carrying the scents of meadow flowers and damp earth. It was as if the world whispered, "You are not alone." She closed her eyes for a moment, letting her tiny hands trail across the water's surface. The ripples fanned outward, catching glimmers of sunlight, making them look like scattered jewels. And as she drifted, a butterfly noticed her. The butterfly was bright and delicate, its wings patterned with tiny flecks like starlight on parchment. It circled Thumbelina once, twice, and then perched gently upon the edge of her lily pad. "Little one," the butterfly seemed to say with each flutter, "I will be your companion." Thumbelina smiled, her fear softening. She tore a strand of her sash and tied it gently around the butterfly's body, fastening it to the lily pad. Together they now had a little sail, carried by both wind and wing. The butterfly's wings shimmered with every beat, propelling them along the water faster, as if guiding Thumbelina toward a new beginning. But peace is fragile, and soon shadows stirred in the air. From the branches above, a great May beetle buzzed downward, its wings rattling like dry parchment. It swooped upon Thumbelina, lifting her lightly from the lily pad with its many legs. The butterfly flapped frantically, but the sash broke, and the lily pad drifted away without her. The beetle carried Thumbelina to a tall tree, where many other beetles waited, their hard shells gleaming, their eyes sharp and curious. They circled her, clicking and chittering. "Look how strange she is," said one. "No feelers, no wings. Her body is too soft," said another. "She does not look like us." The beetles shook their heads, declaring she was not fit to stay among them. And though the May beetle had found her lovely, he soon grew ashamed. He placed her gently upon a daisy in the meadow, leaving her behind. Alone among the flowers, Thumbelina sat quietly on the daisy's white petals, her heart heavy. She was small and delicate, yet the world seemed so vast, and creatures judged her by her form. But the meadow, in its own way, embraced her. Around her, grasses swayed like green towers, shielding her in soft rustles. Ladybirds crept along stems, tiny as she, their spots gleaming. Bees hummed through the air, pausing to rest on blossoms nearby. And Thumbelina, though saddened, found comfort in their presence. She folded her rose-petal dress around herself, curling up upon the daisy as if it were her bed, and fell into a light, drifting sleep. The sun warmed her, and the earth held her gently, whispering with every blade of grass, "You belong, little one." Seasons turning, time drifted forward. Summer melted into autumn, and autumn into the chill of winter. Thumbelina wandered the meadows and fields, drinking dew from flowers and eating honey left behind by bees. She sang softly to herself, her voice carrying across the grasses like a hidden lark. But as winter approached, the ground grew hard, and the flowers withered. Her rose-petal dress wore thin, and her walnut cradle was far away. The cold nipped at her tiny fingers, and she shivered in the harsh winds. It seemed the world, once so alive, now lay asleep under frost, and Thumbelina, too small to bear the snow, began to search for shelter. The field mouse's burrow at last. Among the frozen stubble of the field, she found a small hole leading into the earth. Inside was warmth, a burrow lined with straw and soft moss. A kindly field mouse lived there, nibbling on grains stored for winter. When she saw Thumbelina, so fragile and shivering, the mouse welcomed her in. "Poor child," said the mouse, her voice warm as the earth itself. "Stay here with me, and you shall be safe." She gave Thumbelina seeds to eat and made her a bed of soft straw. And so, the little girl found comfort once more. She sat by the mouse's hearth listening to the crackle of twigs, feeling warmth seep into her tiny bones. The days passed gently, and Thumbelina told the mouse stories, her voice like soft bells in the stillness of winter nights. But fate had yet more paths for her. Time passed slowly in the mouse's burrow. Outside, the snow piled high upon the fields, yet inside, there was warmth, a hush of straw, the soft scent of grain, and the steady breathing of the earth itself. Thumbelina often sat near the entrance, gazing at the white glittering world above. The frost sparkled like stars fallen to the ground, yet she dared not venture out. Her tiny body would not endure such cold. And so, she remained by the mouse's side, spinning tales, humming little songs, and helping gather crumbs. The mouse, though stern at times, grew fond of her. "Little one," the mouse would say, "you must think of your future, for the world is harsh, and you cannot wander alone forever." And thus began the tale of the mole. The mole's arrival one evening, when the burrow glowed with a lantern made from a hollowed turnip, a guest arrived. The earth trembled softly, and into the chamber came a mole. His fur was thick, black, and glossy. His eyes, small and nearly blind, peered dimly at Thumbelina. His nose twitched, and his large paws, made for digging, carried him with strength. "Ah," said the field mouse warmly, "our neighbor has come." The mole bowed low, his voice deep as the soil. "I hear there is a delicate creature living here, small as a flower. I wished to see her for myself." Thumbelina curtsied shyly, her dress now worn but still lovely in its simplicity. The mole gazed at her with admiration. "Such beauty is rare," he said. "She should not live without comfort." The mouse nodded approvingly. "Indeed, a warm home, safety, and food. This is what she deserves." But Thumbelina's heart trembled, for though the mole spoke kindly, she felt no joy in his presence. The tunnel of darkness. One day, the mole invited them to walk through his long tunnel which he had recently dug. He lit a lantern of glowworms to guide their way, and together they walked beneath the earth. The walls pressed close, damp and dark, and Thumbelina longed for sunlight. The air was heavy, yet the glowworm's light made tiny sparks, like stars flickering underground. As they walked, the mole stopped suddenly. "Ah," he said, "here lies something curious." Before them, in the dim earth, lay the body of a small bird, a swallow, who had flown into the darkness and died, unable to find its way. Its wings were folded, and its feathers dulled by dust. "Poor thing," said Thumbelina softly. She bent low, brushing the soil gently from its wings. "It must have fallen in when the frost came." The mole only shrugged. "What is the use of wings in the earth? Birds are foolish." But Thumbelina's heart ached. She longed to cradle the bird, to warm it, though she said nothing. Whispers of compassion that night. Thumbelina could not sleep. The image of the little swallow haunted her mind. Alone, cold, abandoned. So, while the mouse and mole slept, she crept quietly through the tunnel, carrying a soft cloth of moss. She knelt beside the swallow, covering it gently. Then, laying her hand upon its chest, she felt a faint flutter, a heartbeat, so weak, yet still there. "Oh," she whispered, her voice trembling, "you are not gone." Night after night she returned, bringing crumbs of grain and drops of water. She held her hands against the bird's body to share warmth. Slowly, the swallow stirred. Its eyes, dark and shining, blinked open, and it looked upon Thumbelina with gratitude. "Little one," it seemed to say, though no words passed its beak, "you have saved me." And so, a bond was formed in the quiet dark. The swallow's song as spring neared. The swallow grew stronger. Its wings, once drooping, now fluttered with life. One morning it lifted its head and let out a note. Soft, tremulous, but sweet. The song echoed through the tunnels, filling the earth with sound as if sunlight itself had broken through. Thumbelina pressed her hands to her chest, tears shining in her eyes. "You must go when the time comes," she whispered. "Fly to the blue skies, and never be trapped in darkness again." The swallow tilted its head, as though to promise it would not forget her, but Thumbelina's own fate was less free. For the field mouse spoke more and more of her marriage to the mole. "He has wealth," the mouse insisted. "He will keep you safe." Yet Thumbelina's heart sank with each word. To live forever underground, away from sun and flowers, it felt like a cage. And so, she prayed silently for deliverance. The field mouse busied herself with plans. "A fine wedding in the spring," she declared. "You will be the mole's bride, Thumbelina. You will live in warmth and plenty." But Thumbelina's heart grew heavy. She longed for sunlight, flowers, and the song of birds. The thought of forever dwelling beneath the earth filled her with sorrow. One evening, as she wept quietly, the swallow appeared at the tunnel's entrance. Its wings were strong again, shimmering in the dim glow. Thumbelina had whispered, "Come with me. I will take you far away, to fields of sunlight and gardens of blooms. Do not remain in darkness." Her heart leaped. She gazed once more at the sleeping mouse, the silent earth walls, and the long tunnel that felt like a prison. Then, she placed her tiny hand upon the swallow's feathers. "Yes," she breathed, "take me with you." The flight to freedom. The swallow spread its wings, and Thumbelina climbed gently upon its back. With a single beat, they rose through the tunnel, up into the open sky. The night air kissed her cheeks, and stars glimmered like jewels above. For the first time in many months, Thumbelina felt the cool breeze of freedom. They soared over meadows, rivers, and valleys, until the land below shimmered with blossoms. It was a place of endless summer, where every flower opened its petals to the sun. The swallow carried her to a great white bloom, and nestled within its heart sat a tiny prince, no taller than Thumbelina herself, with a crown of gold upon his head. He rose at once, his eyes shining with wonder. "Who is this delicate maiden?" he asked. The swallow answered, "She is Thumbelina, who cared for me when all others turned away. She has the purest heart, the land of flowers." The prince took Thumbelina's hand gently. "You are welcome here, among those who are like you. If you will stay, this garden shall be your home." Around them, other little people stepped forth, no larger than butterflies, with wings glistening like morning dew. They bowed in greeting, their laughter like music. Thumbelina gazed around her at the endless blossoms, the warm sunlight, and the gentle faces smiling in love. For the first time, she felt she belonged. "Yes," she whispered, her heart full of joy. "This is where I am meant to be." The prince placed a crown of petals upon her head and named her Queen of the Flowers. And so Thumbelina lived in the Garden of Light, among blossoms and song, never again to know the darkness of the mole's tunnels. Above, the swallow soared into the sky, singing its sweet melody, a reminder of friendship and freedom. And so, dear dreamer, Thumbelina's journey came to rest in a land of blossoms and sunshine, where kindness and courage led her to true happiness. May her story remind you that, even in the darkest times, light and love await those who believe. Now, as your eyes grow heavy, drift into your own garden of dreams, where flowers bloom endlessly and gentle wings carry you to peace. Good night. Thank you for joining us tonight in this magical bedtime story. If you enjoyed Thumbelina's gentle journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss another dreamy tale. Sweet dreams, little dreamer. Until the next story.